What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Today I want to talk about my girl Jill Scott. All right, my girl Jill Scott, the queen, the legend herself, and her rendition of the national anthem, right? Her remix. Now, of course, first of all, let me just say this. Don't come for Jill Scott. Nobody can come for Jill Scott. Nobody. You can't come for Jill Scott. All right, you just can't. All right, but so the only ones that did come for Jill Scott were all the coons, which was predictable. All the black coons that want their white subscribers to go in their comment section and prop them up, give them likes, shares, and donations. They came out in force and got totally destroyed by the black community because coons are not a part of the black community. They're on the outskirts. They're the traitors. So, but my take on it personally, I like it. And for those who, and of course, who got offended, the Europeans. They're offended, right? They don't like that. They don't mind music when it's talking about the degradation and the truth and all the hip, when they highlight, degenerateness in the black culture. But when there's a song that, highlights the degenerateness in the white culture, oh my God, it's preposterous. No, they don't like that because they're simply ashamed. That's how simple it is. White people are ashamed of their history. They're ashamed of their ancestors. They're ashamed of their culture and what their culture has produced. Everybody knows it, and they don't want to face it. It's just that simple, guys. People are offended because they don't want to, because white people don't want to face the shame of their culture, the shame of their forefathers. And they know they benefit from their forefathers. As a matter of fact, the only thing they really have to be proud about, and they used to be proud about it, they're very proud about it. They used to call it world conquering, world domination, the European empire. They make movies about it, the good side, the whitewash side. They make movies about how they went across the world and they civilized the world, right? Back when they were able to control the message, control the story. It was all grandiose, right? Matter of fact, even on Netflix and Hulu and all the various other streaming networks, they even highlight where they got all their plundering culture from. The Vikings, which is a job, not a group of people. Viking is a job title, right? They highlight how, before, back in the medieval times, how all they did was grape, murder, and pillage each other. The idea of just taking somebody else's stuff is culturally acceptable to them. That's what they do, right? I mean, this is literally their culture, and they're just not proud of it because the thing is, at some point, your chickens come home to roost, and you have to face that, and they don't want to face it. Remember Man in the Mirror? What did Michael Jackson you say? The man in the mirror. People don't want to look in the mirror and see themselves and face themselves. That's why. Why do you think, listen to me, this is important. This is really important. Why do you think white people, especially the conservatives, because it's not all white people. Some white people want to face this shit. They're not ashamed of their culture. They're not ashamed. They just want to recognize that's what happened and they want to make it right. But you got a lot that's ashamed, right? That's why right-wing racist conservatives push individualism. Listen to the rhetoric that they're speaking right now. Listen to how they're speaking while they're doing a mad dash scramble to try to stop the world from recognizing, understanding, and putting the whole pieces together how white people, when they got that cannon and gun, how they manipulated everybody and destroyed every place they've ever been to. How they destroyed everybody who was showing them nothing but love and care and showing them true multiculturalism, true unity, true equality, and how they came in, right, smiling, giggling, laughing, and they undercut and backstab every group of people on the planet, and they're still doing it now while they're still backstabbing and killing each other and stabbing each other in the back in Europe right now. They're so consistent at it. They're doing it with each other. They never stop. Racism is just one tool they use to do it, but there's ethnic issues, tribal issues, even amongst Europeans, country issues, national issues. They will find a reason to rape, murder, kill, plunder, steal, and this is their culture. That's how they roll. And they're ashamed of it because when they look at everybody else's culture who is able to have advanced societies, advanced education, they look at everybody else's culture, how we have actual families, how we commune with each other, they're jealous, right? But I want you to pay attention to this one important thing. You see, you notice how black people, how we always hold each other accountable, you know, no matter what one black person does, and how white people do it is an individualistic, mental illness dude, is because they detach that person so that they don't have to take claim for the things that he did. That's why they love individualism. That way, when that individual white person goes off and does something racist, they'll say it's not a cultural issue. It was that one individual white person who did it. It's not indicative of a bigger epidemic problem within the community. That's why they say it, right? That way, after the 1,000th individual white person goes off and does the same consistent domestic terrorist activity, they'll just keep saying these are just thousands of individuals. It's not indicative of any bigger cultural issue within our community, because everything is individual. That's why they push individualism. Because the thing is, if you push unity, if you push culture, that means you have to have a cultural standard. That means you have to hold your culture accountable. That means when Billy does something, that's white people doing stuff. Just like when Terrence do something, that's black people doing stuff. White people don't want to take advantage. They don't want to take responsibility for their culture. They don't want to take responsibility for their people. They don't want to look in the mirror, and they don't want to acknowledge the fact that they have cultural issues that irritate the world. They won't want to recognize that they're a part of a group that has made horrible cultural decisions, and because of that, they're facing an existential decline in population. They're facing extinction as a group of people that they manifested, the thing white, right? They're facing backlash between their own communities, where you got white people, other white people who are tired of this shit, and they just want to be with the world and move. They want to move to the next step of evolution, where we actually, as a human group of people, see ourselves as human beings. They're trying to move past all this stuff, but they can't, because the other half of their community want to stick to this conserving white superiority, which was always a false dichotomy anyway. It was always fake. It was never real, right? It was never real. So when you get somebody like Jill Scott telling the truth, as a matter of fact, here's the funny part though. How about, instead of, you know, if you're offended by the rendition of the national anthem, because think about it, the national anthem was not for us. How hard is it for white people to understand that when that national anthem came out, we were slaves, that all those founding fathers were slave owners, that shit ain't got shit to do with us. But they just want us to willy-nilly accept it. White people want us just to accept the fact that they did what they did. They want us to accept and just get over it, so they don't have to deal with the guilt. Black people never ask white people to feel guilty. We just want you to hold your shits accountable and make the changes, right, in society to make up for the shit that their peoples did, right? The same way black people, we gotta make up for what happened to our people by adjusting ourselves now, right, to get ourselves in a better position, right, as a group of people. White people gotta do the same shit, but they don't want to face it. They don't want to face it. That's why anytime you put a mirror in their faces, they get, it's an error. They can't even process the information. Think about it, guys. We all have done shit wrong, right? And we try to get away with it. Have you ever gotten caught red-handed? How do people act when they get caught red-handed? Irrational, right? They make excuses. They try to justify it. They are in denial. White people as a whole are battling this issue right now as a culture, right? They don't want to admit it. They want to deny it. They don't want their children to learn it. But the thing is, as much as they're trying to keep this genie in the bottle, is not going to stay in there. It can't. And there's nothing they can do about it. And they're trying to, these old white people who are used to, without any accountability, enjoying the spoils of their ancestors without being held account from the people that, you know, they had to abuse to get to this point. You know, all the program, all the advantages they have, they want to pretend like they don't exist. Some people just want to skip. You want to skip acknowledgement of the issue and just go to a solution. A bit kumbaya. Even some on the liberal side, they just want to get to the, oh, we're all humans, we're all one, and I don't see color. Well, if you don't see color, that makes you racist, because only white people have the luxury to not see color. I see color every day. I have no choice, right? White people are the only ones who say, I don't see color. Bullshit. You see color every day, right? You see color every day. And when you decide you don't want to see, that's when you say you don't want to see it. That's what liberals do. Pretend like the shit don't exist. And some of them even got the nerve to try to chastise black people for having an issue about how they were treated by their own group of people, right? Because they want to skip the necessary steps before we move and evolve as a human race. No, we're not skipping shit. first you white people need to acknowledge it. You liberals, you conservative, all you ones in the middle, all y'all acknowledge what you did and do something to correct it. Apologize, acknowledge what you did, do something to correct it, and teach your children what happened so they don't do it again. Because the thing is, it's not going to happen again. And the world is changing. And African people are about to gain power, a lot of power. And once we're on top, then we'll have the power and the sanctioning power to look at these European nations who are currently crumbling and falling as we speak. And we're going to hold them to account from a position of power. Then what are they going to do? When not only does white supremacy don't exist, but the systems of white supremacy no longer have effective power to do anything around the world. When that happens, they have no choice but to face it. All right, so I'm all for Jill Scott rendition. As a matter of fact, hey, how about this? How about we sing the original song full length, just as fucking disgusting as for white people as the original? How about we do that? The original by itself should piss people off. Just put the whole song together. Don't clip it out. Put the whole song on there, that last part that they conveniently leave out. You see? So all I'm saying is don't fucking come for Jill Scott. I love Jill Scott. I love that rendition. That's the one we should be singing. That's the other one. That's the one. That's to keep it real. All right? That's to keep. See, America wants you to believe that America's like Superman, but in real life, America is like the boys. That's the real America, huh? That's the real America. It's not Superman and Justice League. It's the boys, right? That's what it is. All right. So anyway, that's all I got to say, guys. Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.